Welcome to Cultivating Courage Through Your Story. Without even knowing you, I know you've overcome things in your life that we would all feel inspired to hear. Hopefully, you have experienced some moments in your life that fill your heart with hope that you have what it takes. Today, we're going to do an overview of our own lives to remind ourselves that regardless of where we are today, our future is bright because of our past. My name is Tasha Eizinger. I'm a former classroom teacher who stumbled into network marketing, where I learned I love entrepreneurship and public speaking. I'm no longer building my team. However, I've learned a lot in network marketing that has led us here today. In 2015, shortly after my daughter was born, I dreamt up the Little Shots series. It started with book one, Courage, and my publisher is currently working on the next book, which is really exciting. Through Little Shots Adventures, I teach foundational principles that guide people to realize their potential. Every page in my books has a backstory of where it came from. So it's essentially a quilt of my heart. Today, we're going to create a quilt of your heart. We have been cultivating courage our entire life, but sometimes we need to be reminded of how far we've come. Oftentimes, it's the smallest moments in our lives that create the biggest impact. Let me show you an example from the book. Little Shot is a star who has a dream of becoming a shooting star, also known as Big Shot. And she goes to her parents, and her mom says that she believes in her, and her dad says that she's going to have to make sacrifices and be disciplined for a long period of time doing things others aren't willing to do in order to make it happen. So that story actually comes from my childhood. I was the worst swimmer on the team. I started competitive swimming when I was 8 years old. There was a 4-year-old faster than me. And you know, if you've ever been to a competitive event, you hear the victory clap, which is like, yeah, woo! There's also something called the pity clap. I have lots of memories of the pity clap. I would chug along, eventually touch the wall, and everybody would be, you hear that? It's awful. It was like, you finally made it. And there's actually video evidence to prove that I got a lot of pity claps. It got so bad that over the next couple years, I really didn't improve very much, and I swam exhibition, which means even if I was fast enough to earn points for my team, it wouldn't have counted. They literally put me in, it was like a pity race. And I realized this at about 10 years old, and I went to my coach. I said, hey, coach, I've noticed that I swim exhibition a lot. When are my points going to count for the team? She said, we all have to take our turn. And I walked away and thought, but I have to take my turn way more than everybody else, which I did. Now, luckily, I was disciplined for a long period of time and did get better. But for some reason in elementary school, as bad as I was, I thought I was going to be an Olympic swimmer. And I went to my parents. And I told them, someday I want to swim in the Olympics. Now, they could have done one of two things, which is what most people do when a child shares a dream. They could have given me false hope and said, you can do anything you put your mind to, which is only partly true. No. Or they could have shot me down and said, have you seen yourself swim? And here are the stats. You have to be one of the top swimmers in the entire country, right? They didn't do that. Instead, what they shared was what it would look like. So I knew what I would be getting into. They said, you'll have to swim, you'll have to live with your swim coach. You will live with your teammates. You will be swimming, eating, sleeping, studying. That's it. And I decided for myself, I didn't want that lifestyle and chose not to swim in the Olympics, but I also maintained my dignity. And I feel like we all have those little moments in our lives that at the time, it seemed like such a small moment. And now that I'm an adult and shared this story with my mom, she was like, I don't even remember that. But I do. All right, so in front of you, you have your very own courage quilt. And we're gonna piece it together. So on the center square is a small moment. You're going to share a small moment that has had a profound impact in your life. When you look at your courage quilt, I want you to remember the small moment that gave you courage, the humility, growth, wisdom, and resilience that you've gained in your life, your areas of focus to live the life that you choose to live, and the team that it takes to get there. With those values, it's my belief that you can have hope for your future. And regardless of what you have experienced in your life, you are precious and valuable no matter what. Thank you for sharing 45 minutes of your life with me. Your time is precious and I don't take it for granted. In the book, The Dream Giver, it starts with a story of Ordinary from the land of familiar. The dream giver gives him a feather, which represents a dream. Ordinary has the courage to pursue his dream. It's difficult. At times he wants to give up. In the end, Ordinary realizes he had what it took and it was all worth it. This feather is a symbol of the courage you cultivate every day, and it's a reminder that you have what it takes.